This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast, a show that brings you marketing stories, tips, hints, and much more. A treat for those who want to succeed in business or marketers who just want to learn.
I've got an interesting subject to talk about today.
Go for it.
It's the differences that I found, and when I say I found, I'm pretty sure you found as well, working with different types of business. So a business that is, I don't know, let's say a larger organization that you're not working with the direct owners of a business. So you're working with an MD or a CEO versus a smaller business. Or it doesn't necessarily have to be a smaller business, but you're working directly with the owner of the business. And when the owner of the business they started the business because they have a speciality in whatever it is that they do. And the differences between those two, and the challenges you face in either or of them. So I thought that would be quite a good one to talk about, because I'm sure there's quite a lot of listeners that have seen that difference or have maybe an opportunity coming up where they're thinking about jumping ship to a smaller business where it's just a business owner, or the other way around. And we could maybe give some good insights into that.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So where shall we start? The owner-run business, right?
Yeah. That one took me by, because I started off my career, and obviously you did as well, in corporate, the larger organization. So moving to a small business was different, but it also comes with some really amazing upside that you don't normally see in the corporate. I'd say, so from the straight away, the thing that I absolutely love that I've found working with business owners is the lack of red tape, or I'd say, or less red tape, and the ability to move things forward.
Speed and decision making, right?
Speed and decision making, exactly. Which for marketing particularly is really, really important. Especially because we have, it depends on the goals of the projects you're doing on, but a lot of the time they're time sensitive.
Absolutely.
And we've had many experiences before where we've missed out.
Yep, missed the bus.
Yeah, we completely missed the bus. So that's a really nice angle of have you found that quite a lot recently in some of your workings with smaller businesses?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that is the upside is they can make the decision on budget, on go for it, on yes or no, quite quickly. If you present your case well, you can get the support you need to move forward. And an interesting one, though, and actually I was talking to a friend about this morning, is him and I worked together with a client last year, him on the sales side and me on marketing. And when we were with a client, owner-run business, when we were with him, he got what we were saying, the marketing direction. We were doing a rebrand. He was nodding. We were all on the same page. And then the next day when we had a meeting, he'd backtracked completely, like, oh no, not sure about this direction. And we were actually at that point trying to choose a new name, like, and then rebrand is always sensitive for an owner-run business, especially if the name was theirs initially. And you can have all the right reasons to rebrand, but it's really hard. And this went on for months. For months, we would get to the right strategic direction based on the target market, and he would be yes, yes, yes. And then next day, no, no, no. And we couldn't understand it until it must have been like 3 months in that we realized his wife was as much a part of the business, even though her name wasn't on the door. And every night he would go home and give her an update, and she was the one that was not on board. And so we wasted, and I this is me. No, I should have realized this, because there was another decision maker in play that we didn't realize. And only once we started bringing her into the meetings and into the discussions did we actually start moving forward. So that's an interesting one with an owner-run business, is you need to understand the dynamics fully, because there could be a silent partner that actually is pulling the strings that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I was actually talking about this morning with my friend Terence, because it threw us. We wasted 3 months. And we couldn't understand what was going on. Like, no, but you said yes yesterday.
Yeah. And those silent partners aren't always obvious. Like
Yeah.
you said, in this case, it was the wife. I've experienced where it's like another marketing friend,
Yes,
like
or an advisor, a
advisor,
mentor. You don't know, right?
or just the guy down the pub,
The
which
pub
is the one
guy.
which is the most terrifying one,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, we've had, and you must remember this, we've had, my friend said that we should be on Facebook. Do you remember those conversations? Like,
Yeah.
your friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Even the mum.
Oh, yeah, my mom said, yeah.
My mum said, "He's like, hang on, but you're just over 60 years old yourself, and you're taking business and marketing. Look, sorry, I shouldn't say that,
Don't
because
knock the mom. She could
I
be
don't knock the
awesome.
mum. I'm just saying, it's there's nothing wrong with it. It's just something I did not expect at all.
Absolutely.
The other angle I found, so outside this, or maybe it's like the internal silent partner of a business owner, and as well, being a business owner, we lack confidence sometimes, because it's our business, it's our baby, it's like us on the line. I think that plays a big factor as well. Something that I found is it's easy to come into a business or a product and really shine light on it, and give it a bit of a marketing spin, which is always optimistic. It's not pessimistic. It's showing our best foot, right, as much as possible. And I found that with some business owners, it's like, oh, maybe that's a bit, we're promising too much, or it's a little bit too much.
Imposter syndrome, right?
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, exactly. So I found being in a meeting, even with the rest of the team, everyone's vibing. It's like, yeah, that's really, really good. Even the owner's like, that's good. I'm going to leave it with you guys, because, you're on the ground. And then, there's nothing around the topic for, it could be 24 hours, it could be a week, but suddenly like something pops up. Maybe we could, let's just
Tone it down.
a little bit. Tone it down a little bit.
Tone
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, let's just, not, if anything, let's under promise, because I'd rather over promise. And I understand that completely. And but it is a fine balance, because as marketers, we cannot over promise. We shouldn't over promise.
We shouldn't, yeah.
We absolutely shouldn't. But we shouldn't under promise as well. And it needs to be the middle ground of really showing your best, the best part of you, right, as much as you possibly can, but without stepping over that line. It is a very fine balance, and I understand the difficulty of a business owner in that sense.
Yeah. So what's the key here, Alex, with working with any business, right? Especially a owner-run business, is exactly what we always start with: understand your client. In this scenario, it's your client,
Exactly
right?
that, yeah.
Make sure you know who's in the room.
Yeah.
Get to know the personalities. I think that's also important, because, as you say, each personality is different. Another thing I struggle with owner-run businesses is LinkedIn, for example, because and I know that the best activity comes from a personal profile, not from a business profile. But then a personal profile will need to be that owner. He or she is the face of the business. They need to be the voice. But if they're not wanting to be in the spotlight, if they're not comfortable with that, they're not going to want to do that. They're going to, oh no, post on the business page. Then your marketing efforts are are stunted a little bit, it's much harder. Not impossible, but harder. So understanding that personality of your clients, your owner, is vital, and taking the time to see who else is in play, how strong are those other influences in the decision making, and as you say, they may not be obvious.
No,
I
you're
think
exactly.
you do more, isn't it? It's the same work you would do with a corporate, but in a corporate, you know to do it. You know to do the work.
Yeah,
When you join a corporate, you take time to understand your stakeholders, your role players, because you know there's a team decision. But with the owner-run business, maybe the risk is, your assumption is it's just one man or
yeah,
woman,
right.
and you don't take the time to realize the influence.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So yeah, in a large organization, you can already see the people. You can see the influencers. You can see the CFO, the COO who
Yeah.
might be influencing the CMO or the CEO or something like that, and it's plain to see where it could be, or not necessarily plain to see, but you can see the people who are around. But
Yeah, there's a org structure, right? There's an org
yeah,
chart that helps you, and
yeah,
you know, with a smaller business, it's a not an official org structure, but there's
no,
still an
exactly.
org structure, right?
So that there is an element of personally getting to know them, and just trying to think how that can influence any decisions, and being aware of any decisions that are coming back, and taking a moment to think, where from the time you've spent with the person when they're speaking to you normally in a meeting, does what they've just said, does that kind of align with the normal things they say to you in
Yeah.
person? If not, maybe it's an outside influence, maybe not, but it's something to consider. But the other thing that is really, really nice within an business
Owner-run business.
owner-run business is the level of, again, it depends if this is your thing, but the level of autonomy is much higher, right?
Can be.
It can
Can be.
it
Again,
can
it's
be,
personality types, right?
yeah, yeah, and it depends on the experience of the owner-run business. If they depends what area they come from, right? If they come from a marketing area, maybe they'll be
Then you're
more,
stuffed.
yeah,
We've had that. We've had a
yeah,
marketing expert boss, right, who wanted to tell us every single thing we did.
yeah. Or
And
someone who wants to become an art marketing expert
oh yeah,
overnight.
or someone who's what? This was my favorite. I watched the Simon Sinek video,
Yeah,
and this is how I want to do it.
yeah. I watched the video.
Yes, I watched the Simon Sinek video, and now I
Yeah.
know everything about marketing.
Yeah, it's quite it is an interesting note. You have to be more on your toes, I think. Or you have to be thinking a lot more independently, I guess, and trying to understand the dynamics. There's a lot more visibility of what's really going. This is actually quite a difficult one.
I think it's the same. I think our
Yeah.
assumption is it should be different. But if we actually analyze the work that you should be doing, right? Understanding who you're working with, what their personality types are, how they like to make decisions, what
Mm,
information they need to be comfortable, because that's also different, right? If someone needs a lot of detail to be comfortable, you got to produce detailed reports and whatever. But if that bores them, and they want bullet points, you need to adjust. Now that applies in a big business or a small business. It's the same, right? You need to
yeah.
spend the time. I think our learning over the years has been, we assumed with the smaller business, you didn't need to do the same amount of work. And that's the mistake, because you do.
Yeah.
And the personality type is a big play, and that's whether it's whoever's leading you in the big organization, because you have a reporting line. Although in
Mm,
most of our big organizations, we've had matrix reporting lines, right? So you report to two different people. So that's a whole different kettle of fish. You've got to do
yeah.
everything twice. But in a small organization, you may have a single reporting line, but you still need to know how they like to work.
Yeah.
And can go either way. You can have the micromanager who puts in 4:30 Friday PM meetings just to see how you're doing.
Still haven't let that down.
Nope, I still have not. And you know how much I love 4:30 Friday PM meetings. And or you could go the other way, right? You could have the person who's quite happy as long as you're delivering to let you do your work.
Yeah, that's true. And again, it also depends what you like, because some people like to be micromanaged. Some people like to be more autonomous. So
And it's
yeah,
task dependent, right?
yeah.
Sometimes you've done a task 50,000 times in your sleep, so you don't need a lot of help on that. But sometimes it's the first time, even in marketing, right? If I had to do a TikTok video today, guess what? I've never done a TikTok video, so I probably would like some little bit of support
Yeah,
on
that's
getting
true.
that done. But if you
That is
ask me
true.
to do a LinkedIn ad, I've done those, so definitely
Yeah.
don't need someone to tell me where to click buttons on that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think also working in the smaller businesses, you have to be prepared to do stuff that you've not done before, or you've previously handed out to someone else to work on. Because it often, not always, of course, but the resource can be fewer or less. I don't know. There could be less resource available to you.
Yeah.
So you may spend time doing things that you haven't done for a few years, because in corporate you had a larger team, someone who could take those parts.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a big difference.
Yeah. And you might also have to start building, almost run your department as you almost like you are a business owner, because sometimes you need to start building your own network of people once you do start getting some maybe financial resource to support you in terms of finding designers, web designers, copywriters, and such like that. Building that network, it also is tough. It's not easy, because it's hard to find the people that you work well with, that produce
And that can deliver.
and deliver on time and to the quality that you desire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then if we switch to the bigger organization, because there are pluses, we've made it sound like it's horrible now, but if there are pluses to bigger organizations,
Of course.
and one of them is the resource, right?
Yeah.
You tend to have a different copywriter or graphic designer or people on call. You have, and for me, this is a big one, an IT department that can help you when your tech doesn't work. Or when you need
Exactly.
to figure out how to use the printer.
Yeah.
You have these, compliance team that take the flak for signing off stuff, so the risk's not totally on you
No,
to get it right.
exactly. There's a lot more to fall back on in a larger organization, because you're building your campaigns and everything actually with an army around you of people who have helped and had checked over things or whatever it is. You've got support going up, and that it's comfortable.
And I also like the camaraderie.
Yeah.
The teamwork, the let's go for lunch together, the
Yeah.
laughter over mistakes.
Yeah.
There's a
The 4:30
camaraderie there.
beers instead of the 4:30 meeting.
Yes, well, maybe cosmopolitans, not beers, but
Cosmopolitan.
yes, those. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's a different animal, right?
Yeah. And well, we lucked out, but lots of work trips, business trips.
Yes, yes.
If it's a large organization, you have offices around the world, having nice business trips. That's a plus. I like that.
Especially when you work with a nice team, right? Then it's even
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
you can sit next to them on the plane.
Dreadful. Never ever do that again.
Never sit next to them on the plane. Nope, sit far away.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, tips, Alex. How are we going to close this off?
Well, I think
What suggestions can we make to help our listeners?
I think first of all, you need to understand who you are as a person and what is important to you. Are you looking for more autonomy? Are you looking for, or would you prefer more support in your day-to-day activity? Are you willing to do things that you don't normally have to do, or would you rather spend more time
stick to your
on it.
knitting.
Yeah, stick to exactly what you like doing. And then either way, if you're in a large organization or a small organization, like you were saying, again, remember who you're working with, think about the wider field of influence, and understand how that might be influencing ideas or suggestions from other people or mindset. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, I think you got it spot on. Just treat every job the same, do the same amount of diligence, whether it's big or small, and make sure you know who your stakeholders are.
Love it.
Awesome. Well, great chatting as usual, Alex. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Chat soon. Bye.
Bye.
That wraps up this episode of Giraffes Don't Eat Steak. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found value in our discussion and got some new ideas to apply to your own business. Tune in next week for another round of marketing insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate you listening. Catch you next time on Giraffes Don't Eat Steak.